Hello and welcome to the New Earth Rising News Desk, a special edition of the Rising Lioness. Today we're going to be discussing the Ridglan Beagle Trial, and with us is Tamara Bedic, the Animal Rights Committee Chair for the National Lawyers Guild of New York City. Welcome, Tamara. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think we should probably just jump right in. If you can tell our audience a little bit about your background, your advocacy work, and your connection to this case.
Hello, Erica. Thank you for this opportunity to speak on the Ridglan trial. My name is Tamara Bedic. I'm an attorney, a litigator, and I chair the Animal Rights Committee of the National Lawyers Guild. I oppose medical testing on non-consenting animals, and I'm a big fan of Wayne's Simple Heart blog.
Thank you. And this DXC action happened quite a while ago, did it not? 2017, I believe.
Yes. In April 2017, 3 activists found an unlocked door and entered the Ridglan Farms biomedical facility that breeds beagles and experiments on them. Ridglan Farms is now the second largest beagle breeding facility in the U.S. They're in Wisconsin, and having been there for generations, they're deeply entrenched in that community. The 3 rescuers were Wayne Shung, Eva Hammer, and Paul Picklesheimer, carrying a 360-degree camera.
That's fascinating. And the 360-degree camera, can you tell us the significance of that?
Often, when factory farms, or in this case a biomedical lab, are investigated, they cry foul, claiming that investigators consistently show only the worst images. With a 360-degree camera, everything is captured, negating that complaint.
Okay, and can you explain why beagles?
Well, Erica, beagles are the most placid dog breed. They can suffer extreme pain and neither fight nor bite back in self-defense.
Can you tell us what happened after the rescue?
Well, a couple of things. The 3 rescued beagles were immediately brought into emergency veterinary care. But in the big picture, 2 seismic shifts were happening. So let me describe the first. In Vigo, it began with a 2021 undercover investigation by PETA that found 5,000 beagles, dogs and puppies, intensely confined in small cages 24/7. These were dirty kennels in a massive breeding facility in Cumberland, Virginia. Now, in July 2021, the USDA, and remember, the USDA is charged with overseeing animal welfare in laboratories, cited in Vigo with 26 violations of the Animal Welfare Act. And then in October, the USDA inspectors returned and cited in Vigo for 13 more violations, including 11 repeat violations. And then in November 2021, the USDA came back and cited in Vigo for 29 more violations, including 16 repeat violations. By this time, it was clear that Vigo was in some serious trouble and could not redeem itself. So in May of 2022, the Department of Justice stepped in and filed a complaint and moved the court for a temporary restraining order. A federal court granted that restraining order on May 21st to ensure the health and welfare of the beagles at Vigo. And that's when the Humane Society stepped in to help remove and rehome nearly 4,000 dogs. And while this was all going on, the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 was slowly making its way through Congress.
So can you explain to us why the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 is important?
Now, the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 that President Biden signed into law on December 29th, 2022, is the first time since 1938 that drug manufacturers are given the option to use other means of testing a new drug's efficacy and safety without testing on animals. Now, the FDA Modernization Act 2.0 does not ban animal testing. It merely allows for high-tech alternatives to animal testing if a drug manufacturer chooses to use them. So the goal in passing this legislation was not only to save millions of animal lives, but to increase predictability and ensure that a drug behaves in a human body the way it was intended. Because a laboratory mouse is not a cat, is not a dog, is not a human. And too often, drugs found to be safe and effective in laboratory animals were neither safe nor effective when given to people. So animal testing is not always predictable, and that makes it inefficient expensive, and time-consuming. Human lives are lost in the process.
I see. Okay. And so can you tell us what happened at the Ridglan criminal trial?
Nothing. 10 days before the attorneys were to begin jury selection, Ridglan suddenly decided they wanted to stop the trial. So the trial was aborted. Now, mind you, the three people accused, Wayne, Eva, and Paul, they wanted that day in court, and they spent close to $100,000 preparing for that trial, a trial that didn't happen.
Wow. Okay. So what now? Is it over? Is that it?
No, defendant Wayne Shung, along with a local beagle advocacy group called Dane for Dogs, turned around and in mid-March asked the court to appoint a special prosecutor, someone who will go into Ridgeland Farms and investigate the claims of animal cruelty occurring there.
So why not just have the local DA investigate?
Well, DA Ozan just spent the last few months building a criminal case against Wayne Shung and charging him with felony and burglary, for which Wayne was facing up to 16 years in jail. So it's unlikely that, having worked so long to convict Wayne, DA Ozan could now be unbiased and fair. Also, remember that becoming a DA means campaigning in your community. You're relying on local businesses to support your candidacy for DA. Ridgeland Farms and other biomedical facilities are major employers in the area.
Makes sense. And so what are the chances of getting this special prosecutor?
Well, that depends on how much smoke there is. What things have petitioners Wayne Shung and Dane for Dogs alleged? What kind of evidence have they listed in their 101-page petition for the judge to consider? Is it credible? Is it awful? Does it shock the conscience and demand an investigation? I can't tell you.
Thanks, Tamara. I really appreciate all of this information. And for folks out there who want to help and support, what can they do?
Well, April 18th is the hearing. That's when the judge will hear what the petitioners have to say and why he should appoint a special prosecutor. Now, Dane for Dogs is organizing a rally on the Dane County Courthouse steps. So if you can be there, please come out on April 18th and show your support. They'll be meeting at 9 a.m.
Great. Tamara, thank you so much for coming on today and keeping us informed of this extremely important case. And the implications are far reaching. And so what can we do to stay connected, and how can we get updates on this case?
Yes, you can register for the Animal Rights Committee webinar, American Dogs, which is on April 26th at noon Eastern Time. Rescuer Paul Picklesheimer of DXC will be speaking, as will his attorney, Chris Carraway. And together we'll discuss the hearing, how it went, and we'll try to predict what the judge will say, and of course, what our next steps will be. So registration is free at this link. Thanks.